sure.
And before the press conferences even start. I mean, we could talk for 45 minutes just about how atrocious the defense is.
He's just picking the big guys. Jordan Mailata, he's huge. He'll be good later on. Josh Sweat, he's tall as hell and strong. Let's get him. We'll figure him out. It's working.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. We are brought to you by Manscaped, the best in male grooming products. They are great. Manscaped.com. Make sure you check them out. The holiday season is coming. Get those people in your life what they really want. That's something from Manscaped.com. Use promo code TRENDING, the name of our show, Trending, TRENDING. At checkout, it gets you 20% off and free shipping. And on top of that, you're helping the podcast out. We're growing. We're up to 16 shows a week. We're adding more players to the team. The only way we can continue to grow and put out great content on a 7-day-a-week basis is by your support. So checking out Manscaped and using promo code TRENDING is a great way to do that. That's Jeremy. I'm Phil Stifel. We are your Trending in the AM team. Good morning, Jeremy. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing pretty good. Excited to get going with another show. A great show yesterday.
Man.
Yeah. Our highest in views so far. So hopefully we can keep that going. And loving all the support from everyone so far.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I mean, last week, first week of doing this show, we had some issues with Twitter for 2 or 3 days. But I mean, we did about over the course of 5 days last week. I did all the numbers. It was right around 3,000 total views on all platforms: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, multiple Twitter accounts, multiple Facebook accounts. Yesterday alone, on Twitter alone, we had over 1,300 views. I mean, I can't thank people enough for sharing the show out, for joining in and supporting us. That was when I saw those numbers after the show yesterday. I was like, holy crap! I was like, that's amazing that everybody. That was literally our 7th show together.
Yeah,
and that's how quickly I jumped up. So I greatly appreciate that. And that's great that you brought that up.
Yeah, I was very excited. So thank you guys all for the support. We're loving it. And we're going to keep on going. We're not stopping anytime soon. So
absolutely
thank you again.
I mean, I'm going to stop next Tuesday. I got to get a tooth pulled. So we're going to have somebody sub in for me next Tuesday. My teeth are falling out. So that's just a problem. So yeah. It's going to be an expensive problem. Anyway, we've got lots to talk about today. Let's jump right in. So we got the Sixers versus the Bucks last night. We're going to talk a lot about that game. I want to talk a little bit about the Phillies today because Dombrowski talked at the GM meetings a little bit about what his, a little generalized conversation about what his offseason plans are. We got some great guests coming up on the network the next couple of days, so I want to preview that. And, of course, I do want to talk Eagles. We haven't really talked much Eagles this week, so I want to get into a little talk there. And we're going to close the show. We got to talk one more minute about the Nikolai Jokic situation from yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm personally, some people think it's okay, but me personally, I'm a little embarrassed by the suspension he got. But we'll get into that later. Let's talk Sixers. Heartbreaker last night.
Again.
But not what we didn't expect to happen. They lost the Bucks 118-109. Again, super shorthanded. And right before the game, Seth Curry was ruled out with a knee issue or a foot issue. So we were even more shorthanded. So we had 7 regular guys to play. And then they used Bassie for 5 minutes off the bench just to spell some guys.
Yeah.
And they were winning this game for a good portion of the game. They literally fought tooth and nail, put every ounce of energy. And if there's ever a time that you can use and get away with using the moral victory phrase, last night was it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of the second game in a row where it was kind of like that, going on against that Knicks game. It was kind of that same way where you kind of had a moral victory type thing. And that's kind of what you have to expect when you have 7 guys playing the game of basketball. That is very difficult. And when it's your stars that are out, that makes it even way more difficult. And when you go up against these pretty good teams, Knicks are a good team. Bucks, they have Giannis. That's really all you have to say.
They're the defending champs.
Exactly. So going up against them, and we didn't really have anyone really set up to stop Giannis. Not that anyone can really stop him, but really limit him to what he can do. We had your man on him yesterday. You had your favorite player on the team, Paul Reed, right?
He did a pretty darn good job.
He was.
I mean, if you want to look at Giannis put up 31 points, 16 rebounds. It's pretty typical of him.
Yeah.
But between field goals and free throws, he shot the ball. He shot 26 field goals and 13 free throws. That's 39 times he put the ball up, and he only got 31 points.
No,
That's
yeah,
just
yeah.
defense on a guy right there.
No, yeah, it wasn't bad. And I know Paul Reed did get into foul trouble last night. So after that, we had to they tried switching up a couple people. They had Drummond on them for a little bit. They even had Yang on them for a little bit.
Yeah, that was pretty. I mean, we
yeah.
talked about it yesterday. How he's like the wacky, waveable, inflatable tube man dude. He just flails his arms in the air. But you know what? He puts in the effort. You know, I've seen much worse effort put on the defensive end.
Yeah,
so
100%.
But I mean, if you really think about it, you know, the being shorthanded, the minutes this team has played, I mean, it finally caught up to them. Because if you look at the box scores last night, I mean, they only scored 16 points in the fourth quarter of the game.
Yep.
And all their shots, especially Korkmaz and Shake, I mean, a lot of hitting the front of the rim, which all that means is tired legs. You know, short shots are tired legs. And you can see, I mean, Korkmaz had a god-awful game. Somebody had to tell him to stop shooting. 2 of 18 from the field, 1 of 12 from 3, 5 points. He played 45 more minutes, though. Korkmaz is not a 45-minute-a-game guy.
No.
And he's played 44, 45 minutes 3 games in a row now. So eventually, a shooter needs his legs to get that shot up. The guy, I said it before the game. I said it yesterday. You know, these guys are going to get tired. Jang has never played more than 16 minutes in a game on average. He's playing 25, 30 minutes a game right now. So you had to expect some lag in those legs and some tired, you know, wobbly legs there after a while.
Oh yeah, these guys are really gonna appreciate today's game or today's day off.
If I'm not practicing today.
No, God, no. Let them calm down a little bit. You got Maxey playing 45 minutes over and over. You got, just like you said, Korkmaz playing all these minutes. These guys need a break. They need some rest because I guarantee they're all going to have to play 45 minutes tomorrow as well. So,
and the Raptors are a beatable team, even shorthanded.
Yes.
So, you know, we need these guys fresh and ready to go tomorrow. And maybe Curry comes back. Maybe his injury's not too serious. They haven't really even divulged much information on the Curry injury.
Yeah, it was kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, it kind of was out of nowhere. But still, you're still not going to see, you know, Tobias yet. You're still not going to see Joel yet. You're not going to have Joe or Matisse yet because those protocols take 10 days. And I think we're only into, you know, Tobias, I think we're into like 5 or 6 days of his protocols. But the others are only in their 4th or 5th day of it. So it's going to stretch into next week before we see a majority of our team back. Right. And if they're, you know, their endurance and their breathing and all that, the side effects of getting COVID, you know, are all okay. So, you know, this team needs rest. They need to sit and just do nothing today. Literally just chill out today. And I got into it with somebody on Twitter last night because I was saying that, you know,
what else is new?
I know. I'm always getting into it Twitter because there's so many trolls out there. And they know I'm so easily triggered. And they're trying to argue with me that I was talking about tired legs and stuff like that. And they're saying that this team's so young and a 21-year-old Maxey can't get tired. There's no excuse to get tired. And I had to say, come on now. I don't care if you're 21, 18, or 40. You play 40-some minutes back-to-back nights, you're going to get tired. Those legs are going to get a little, you know, little jelly feeling in them. There's no way any athlete of any, any level can handle in any sport playing that quality of minutes and that hard for those minutes, you know, because let's be honest, Maxey's, I mean, he's balling out and he's playing 110% every single offensive and defensive play. So, you know, the guy got tired. Furkan got tired. Yang got tired. The whole team, even Drummond got a little tired last night.
Yeah. Hey, I go out and play pickup basketball for 30 minutes and I get tired. and we're taking a bunch of breaks in between, all right? So I don't want to hear anything. I know I'm not to Tyrese Maxey's level, but man, give the guy a break. Playing all that time, so many days in a row, practicing every day. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And the thing is that he's been playing incredible the entire time too. Yeah. So even though he's tired, he's still playing extremely well. I'm not upset with Tyrese. I am so happy with Tyrese Maxey this season. Again,
last night, 31 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, a block. And to me, still the key, another game with 0 turnovers. That's 5 games, a total of 2 turnovers, his last 5 games.
That is insane.
That is insane.
We're going to, we're going to start doing this. We're going to have a tracker and we're going to make a little graphic thing of the Tyrese Maxey turnover. And we're just going to have it in the corner of the screen, be like, another zero. Another zero.
The tracker never is going to move.
No, it's not. It makes it easy.
Until that one game where he has like 9 and it just rolls up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're really going to have to get an NBA expert on here to talk Tyrese Maxey and how quickly he's developed. Because again, I mean, it's not like he played major minutes last year. I know he came on strong in the playoffs, but he's still a young kid with minimal experience. If we talk about Jalen Hurts and he's only started 13 games in the NFL, I mean, if you break down how many games are in a season in the NFL to NBA, and Maxey's so farther behind where Jalen Hurts is. So, I mean, the fact that we're getting what we got out of him, and you can tell he had 17 of his 31 points in the first quarter. So it means he only had 14 the other 3 quarters. So you could see he was starting to get a little tired on the jump shot portion of it. But still, I mean, you give buku credit. Even Danny Green, 29 minutes last night, 35 minutes the night before, and he's got a busted up hamstring that honestly, if we weren't, hurt or short teamed right now, he'd probably still be sitting out.
Yeah, he wouldn't be playing.
Exactly. And you can see it on his defensive, game where he's a little late here and there. So, I absolutely, am super proud. And I always used to hate saying during the Brett Brown era, oh, that was another moral victory there.
Yeah.
But that was a different circumstance.
They mean something.
Night, this means something here.
Yeah, it definitely means something. And I kind of want to hear your thoughts more on Shake Milton. I wasn't sure if you actually were to catch the game, but
I watched almost all of it. So
yeah, so what are kind of your thoughts on Shake Milton last night? Because he did play 42 minutes and dropped 20 points.
Yeah, so Shake
filled in pretty well for Seth.
He filled in the moment pretty well. Shake Milton, to me, his ceiling is obviously nowhere near as high as Tyrese Maxey.
No.
Shake Milton is a very, very good bench piece on a team. He's not going to consistently put up good games when he's needed for 42 minutes. If he's playing that 18 to 22 minute range, you can utilize his skills when he doesn't settle for the jump shot, when he drive. I mean, honestly, we talk about Maxey's drives, and high arcing shots off the glass. Shake Milton with the little dribble reverse layup. I mean, he can get past people, pretty easily. I mean, he didn't earn that Shake nickname, by accident. He literally can get past the number 2 defender, like the second, the backups on the other team's bench guys. He can get past them super easy. He can run the team as a point guard from time to time, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. But he is limited in his game. And he had a good game last night. It wasn't a bad game. But, again, he's not an excellent 3-point shooter, 1 of 4 last night.
Right.
He does what he does. He's not a great defender. He had the worst plus minus on the team last night at minus 13. So I'm not being critical of him, but I'm just saying long-term in the role that he's in right now, he would not succeed. But Shake Milton is an excellent, excellent bench piece on this team when it is fully healthy.
Right.
They were talking about it on the broadcast last night, about how, this team's playing. And once you get all these starters back, just think of how deep this team really is.
Yeah.
Shake Milton, Furkan Korkmaz, those guys on the bench where they belong. I mean, come playoff time, we don't need to trim down to a 7-man rotation. We can run a 9-man rotation in the playoffs and keep everybody fresh, because someone like Shake Milton and Furkan and some of these other bench pieces, I mean, pretty darn amazing. So
no, definitely.
It's just the wrong situation because of everybody being out for Shake Milton.
Right. Just because Shake Milton is someone that I've always liked, so I kind of want to hear your thoughts on how he played last night.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he filled in well for Seth.
Night. I mean, 42 minutes is a lot for Shake Milton.
Yeah, definitely. That was my main point.
Well. He took some some bad beats on defense, and that's expected. I mean, even he guarded Giannis a few times, and I want to get into Giannis, and how easily he gets away with so much in the NBA.
He does. For years now.
I counted in the second half. I counted 6 push-offs, and 2 of them were on Shake. So Shake gave up 2 easy buckets to Giannis, but one time he literally lowered his shoulder and just pushed off with his shoulder. Another time you clearly see him just go like this. If Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid or Tobias Harris do this, not only is it a foul, it's like a flagrant one. You're ejected. Yeah. I mean, it's the end of the world. But Shake, Shake a lot of times is, let's see what Drew's saying here, and a little too selfish with the ball. Maybe I think if you're saying that last night, I could see why Shake would be too selfish, because it's not like you had a lot of great natural scorers, and Furkan was having a god-awful game last night.
Yeah.
So somebody, had to be selfish with the ball. Even Tyrese Maxey, he only made 4 buckets after the first quarter. So there was a lot of players, struggling in the second half of that game. So somebody had to step up. And I think that's good that Shake, we saw it. He fell out of the rotation last year in the playoffs because he lost confidence in his shot.
Exactly.
I want to see him confident in the shot. I don't care if it goes in. I just want to see confidence, because if you're
Yeah.
confident in your shot, eventually it'll start falling.
Exactly. 100% on it.
So Giannis and pushing off.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
No, see that whole thing, it's been going on for years now where we've seen Giannis just get away with things and we really don't know why. Like I don't really get the reason why. The guy already has an advantage with his size and his length and just everything. And I don't think it's all the refs coming together and it's like, hey, we're just gonna give Giannis things. Like I'm almost positive that's not what it is. I'm not gonna give you 100%. But something always seems to happen where just Giannis gets away with things. A lot of travels. Like I've seen him take 3 huge steps from half court to the basket, taking 3 steps getting there with how big he is. And they're just like not calling anything. I'm like I feel like it's like blatant. Like there's blatant calls that the refs are missing.
When he lowered his shoulder into Jang last night at one point in the fourth quarter, like literally. Like so, there was the one play where he swung his elbow, and it looked like they even challenged it. It looked like he clipped Zhang in the head. I think it was Zhang in the head, and Zhang fell down, and they just let it go. They even reviewed it and didn't say anything about it. Literally, just if Joel Embiid violently swings a limb, it's an instant call. Giannis does it. It's okay because it did knock the guy out completely. So we're not going to call it. Then he lowered his shoulder to shake. I saw at least 3 or 4 push-offs, which we all see all the time from him. But it's just a double standard. And I understand the superstars get away with a little bit more in all sports.
Yeah.
But that has to kind of almost be done away with, that mentality. If it's going to be a foul on one player, it's got to be a foul on all players.
Yeah.
And that's something that really annoys me in sports, that they always talk about, well, this guy earned the right to get away with that. I don't think that's fair.
No, 100%. And it's just something we see in different sports, and it's just very frustrating, especially when you don't have that person, someone that is going to be a star player, and they are, everyone like loves Giannis. Like he always has like that good energy and that good attitude, and it's just people that it's just a person that fans would really like. And I don't know, maybe they just let people like that slide a little bit more. You see how Joel is, and he messes around on the court and stuff like that. So they're willing to call him out more because he just plays around too much. That's really my only thoughts of what it really could be, and they're just letting some guys get away with it.
It shouldn't be, is what I'm saying. And
no,
there's never
right,
be
in
any sport a double standard. It's in baseball. Certain the Max Scherzers get a little bit bigger of a plate than the Chase Andersons, if you want to use that. It just shouldn't be the case. Right. And unfortunately it is. And then also players like Joel get a bad rep, and it's even worse for them. So it's something that frustrates me, but I wanted to mention it a little bit there. The other thing I want to mention from last night's game, it was the announcers. I know you said you heard it after work last night.
Yeah, I heard all about it, man.
The fact that the announcers late in the fourth quarter, they were talking about, as the Sixers lead was slipping away and Milwaukee was taking over the game and stretching out, about how the Sixers are obviously showing tonight. This was their exact words. It's a shame that the Sixers don't have a real starting point guard because it's showing tonight. Hold on a second. Tyrese Maxey just put up 31 points. He had 17 in the first quarter. He's playing 40 minutes a game, not turning the ball over. We don't have the tracker, but it's 2 turnovers in the last 5 games. Okay? And you're going to call out of all the things that happened in that game last night. You could have talked about Furkan going 2 of 18. You could have talked about, the short bench. You could have talked about the bad defense. You could have talked about anything. And you wanted to single out Tyrese Maxey, that's not a good enough point guard to lead this team at the moment. Come on now. That is the most blatant thing of disrespect. I hope somebody gets that clip, blocks it out, and sends it to Tyrese Maxey so he could just play that before every single game, just for motivational purpose. It
probably laugh at it
beyond belief last night.
No, definitely. And that's the thing. I really don't even think that is the problem right now. The problem with last night is we had no one to stop Giannis. That was, besides being shorthanded, but we had no one to stop Giannis. Yes, if we had Ben Simmons in, this game could have been a whole different direction. But we got to stop talking about if we had Ben Simmons in.
Right.
He's not going to play. Stop. That's like saying if we had Carson Wentz. We don't have him. So it's just why even bring it up? And especially an announcer on TV where everyone's hearing. It's really frustrating because Maxey has just been doing really good, and that hasn't been the issue so far this year. That has not been the issue so far this year at all. If anything, that has been like the limelight. Like that is what's been that's all we've been talking about is Tyrese
Joel
Maxey.
Embiid has had a bad season by his standards. We could talk about that.
Exactly.
We cannot talk about Tyrese Maxey
No.
not being a viable starting point guard for this team. It just you know what it showed? It showed two things, actually. It showed the announcers don't pay attention to the Sixers season long. And it shows that the announcers really aren't even paying attention to the game they're watching. They're just calling the play that happens, and they saw one bad play or one bad 3-minute stretch, and they just made an open-ended statement like that. Yeah. It's just poor job. Give me that job. I'll announce better than those guys. Give you the job. We're not going to make stupid, unintelligent comments like that. I don't care what team it is. You got to be able to see what's right in front of you there.
Yeah. 40 minutes into a game and Tyrese Maxey's getting a little bit tired. Now we're going to start complaining about him. But I guarantee right when he drops 30 in the first half, they're going to be like Tyrese Maxey, like Ben Simmons who? They're going to say something like that, like tomorrow when we just destroy the Raptors or something like that.
Yeah. All right. So, we got the Raptors tomorrow at home, and then we start a 6-game road trip, mostly to the West Coast. Pacers, Jazz, Nuggets, Blazers, Kings, Warriors. I mean, that's going all over the Central and West Coast. Yeah. Normally those kind of stretches are perfect for teams to bond and get together, but half of our team's out with COVID protocol. So hopefully at some point on that trip, everybody's back. That would be nice.
Yeah.
So Raptors tomorrow night. Raptors aren't a great team. So hopefully, maybe Curry comes back. Maybe we can get a win out of it. Yeah. But then, by Saturday, maybe some of these guys start to slowly come back. Maybe by Tuesday of next week, we see, Tuesday or Thursday of next week, maybe we get everybody back for the last 4 games of this stretch. I don't know, but it's going to be a really tough next 7-game stretch, depending on how long these guys are out for.
Hey, so how I'm really going to put it is, even if we had all of our guys, it's still going to be a hard stretch. I mean, going across the country, and you're playing a lot of good teams. When they're at home, that makes a whole difference. Sixers love playing at home, and a lot of other teams do too. You have home court advantage. Everyone's going to love it. You got all the fans behind you. So even if we did have our good guys there, it'd still be very difficult. The fact that we don't for maybe half of it or however many it's going to be, very worrisome to me. And it could bring us down a lot in the standings. And I know once we get our guys back, they can bring us back up. But let's not make it too difficult on them. Hopefully Doc can pull something up. Get some other younger guys up here. I know.
I mean, again, he was quoted before the game. What did you say to the young guys, Springer and
that's
the other guys? And he said, "Don't screw up your opportunity." But he didn't give them the opportunity.
He didn't give them it. I want to see Springer
shooting 2 of 18. You could have thrown Springer out there for 5 minutes.
I want to see Springer in so bad.
Yeah, dude, that was an issue. So 7 games, 6 on the road. I mean, I would have to think based off of what our team is at right now, that even if we win 4 of those games, that's a huge, huge win in my opinion.
I'm
because of being shorthanded. Even if we win 3 and go 3-4, that might be a positive step for this team.
It is.
Going forward, because that's a tough stretch of games. Nuggets, Warriors, Jazz, Pacers, all really strong teams. So it'd be really interesting to see how they do over the next 2 weeks with 6-7 games there.
Ooh, it's gonna be a fun one. It's definitely gonna be a fun one.
We do this show that Wednesday or Thursday after the Warriors game, and we see what that team's record is at that point. I mean, it's gonna be. I'll be really surprised what the Maxey tracker has on it, and what that record is after that point.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's be fun.
All right, let's switch. Let's switch bases here. Bases. Yeah, see, segue there.
I see what you're doing now.
Yeah. I'm trying. It was a really bad job there. And calling myself out on it was even worse. Phillies, Dave Dombrowski, president, GM, whatever you want to call him. Basically, the man calling the shots for the Phillies. Spoke from the GM meetings. And he talked a little bit. He didn't really give away too much of what his plans are here this offseason. But this is his first offseason for real, because last year was like 2 months into the offseason when he took over.
It was so
he was already behind. It was really hard for him to really do much last year. But 2 things he talked about yesterday. One, that Middleton has given him his budget, and he clearly said, he's like, I'm not going to tip my hand on how much I'm allowed to spend, but, I think it's enough money. It's definitely enough money to make the changes and improvements we need. And then he also listed, the spots that he wants to improve the team. Says he needs a left fielder and a center fielder, which is obvious.
Yes.
He would like to upgrade shortstop, but that's kind of like he kind of hinted that that's last on his list of importance thing because you still have Didi, you have Bryce and Stott, maybe that could come up. And he didn't stress starting pitching. He stressed the closer. He said we have to. He said that is the number one need of this team is a lockdown closer.
Okay.
So those 4 positions, say that you're the GM of the Phillies, and they're your 4 positions. Are you with him going closer, left, center, shortstop in that order of importance?
Yeah, definitely. The closer spot, we have not had a lockdown closer in years and years and years.
Yeah.
And this Hector Neris tryout that we keep on giving him, I actually like Hector Neris as a reliever. When he comes in that setup role, he does a great job. He's a great reliever. But when he's in the 9th inning, I've looked at him like separate tapes and everything. He is actually shaking. He is petrified. He shakes. He's like waiting to pitch. And I'm like, this guy is like, he gets way too nervous. And I don't know what it is about the 9th inning. And it is a very stressful situation. And Hector just gets way too nervous about it. I would love him as a reliever. He's technically not even on the Phillies right now. But I think a closer role is one of the more important roles. Instead of just a closer, I would say the bullpen in general. It's been one of our biggest downfalls for the past couple of years. So I think the entire bullpen would be a better statement. But if he wants to go out and get a great closer, they're more difficult to get in free agency just because they're older and the reason why they're not on the team is because they had a struggling year before. So it's gonna be a little bit difficult to get a really like lockdown closer. They usually come homegrown. But hey, I was
reading Jim Salisbury's article on NBC Sports Philly this morning before the show, and he listed 5 closers that could be had. And you talk baseball a lot more than I do, so I'm going to give you the names. Okay. So you got Iglesias, but he's got a qualifying offer, so you lose a 2nd-round pick if you sign him. You got how do you say his name? Melanson or Melanson?
Mark Melanson. Yeah,
Melanson. Okay, yeah, Jansen available as a free. So Melanson and Jansen are free agents, and then Kimbrel and possibly Josh Hader are available in trades. So obviously Kimbrel's the biggest name of all of them. Would he be the guy you target in a trade, or would you go after one of the free agents? Like, how would you handle like the pecking order of what you do if you were the GM of the team?
With all of those guys, I don't
absolutely.
Sorry,
that's the truth. If you have a $300 million man, you got to go over the luxury tax.
I am with that statement 100%. I'd been saying that for years too.
Absolutely.
Those guys, all good names. Again, free agency. I'm not a huge fan of picking up free agents for a closer role. I'm not the biggest fan unless they are someone that's trying to restart their career. Like Raciel Iglesias, he's looking to sign a 1-year deal and ball out and get a big deal the next year. That's kind of Iglesias moves. So I wouldn't be upset with getting someone like him. Making trades for a closer, I'm 100% supportive of it. Kimbrel and Hader, if we could get our hands on either one of those are the definition of lockdown guys. So if they're willing to trade guys like that, I'm all for it, and I'd probably give up more than most people because that closer role is really important. We lost a lot of games last year.
34 blown saves. It was an MLB record of blown saves. And someone told me, I was arguing that we need starting pitching help. They're like, well, don't you remember we blew all these saves, so we don't need starting pitching help? Like, a lot of these blown saves were in the 6th, 7th, 8th inning as well. It wasn't just – we didn't get to the 9th inning always with a lead because we were blowing saves all over the bullpen.
Right.
What would it take to get Craig Kimbrel? How much are you going to have to give up to get him? He's obviously the biggest name of the 5 I mentioned. Yeah,
so something for Kimbrel, you're going to give up more prospects most likely. And the thing is that we really don't have a lot of prospects.
You're going to have to give up Bryce and Stott to get Craig Kimbrel?
See, now I don't think Stott is going to have to be involved because hitters are a lot more valuable. I think Stott is more valuable than Craig Kimbrel right now. And I would even rather Stott over Kimbrel. But we'd have to give up a lot of decent prospects, and we don't really have that. We have a couple big ones. We have someone like Bryce and Stott and the starting pitcher of last year's draft, Mick Abel. That's someone I would never give away right now. But after that, there is not a lot of good names. So I don't know how much possibility it is unless they want MLB ready players. But I don't know. I'm not sure how willingly they're willing to get rid of Craig Kimbrel. He got traded last year, and he's seeming to he played well where he is now. So we'll see, but I don't think there's really a shot we can get these kind of guys. We just don't have a lot. But if Dombrowski can make it and make his magic, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. So closer, that's that. So they were Dombrowski talked a lot about left and center field as a bigger importance to shortstop. The big free agent names though are infielders. You got the Trevors, the Storys, the Carreras, the Simeons. They're shortstops. And he said, yes, we might try to upgrade shortstop, but that's like down the line on his order's importance. And I can even see them, and he also said in the interview that Bryson Stott's going to have a chance to compete to start the season as the shortstop.
I like it.
So then if that's the case, they're not going to bring in a Story or one of these big names because then you don't have a spot for him or for Bryson Stott. So, so what do they do? Are they just going to ignore it and just that hope Didi's healthy or that somebody can play shortstop till Stout's ready? And are they just going to focus on the outfield? And honestly, I don't see the major names available to fix that left field and center field position.
Yeah, so there isn't too much, but there's definitely an upgrade of what we'd have now. At this point, we would have someone like Mickey Moniak playing in the outfield and Adam.
By the way, I'm a Mickey Moniak fan. I think he's gotten a bad rap, but been forced. His growth has been stunted by no minor league season last year.
Yeah,
being forced inconsistent playing time. I know a lot of people hate Mickey Moniak, and he's not a number 1 overall pick like he was, but if given the right time to develop, he still could be a half decent baseball player.
No, yeah, I do think Moniak could be a solid player. And we drafted him. He was like 170 pounds, and he did start to bulk up. And that was my biggest problem with him is that he was a lot smaller. And I know he was coming out of high school. He was 18 years old. But I still think Moniak can have something. He definitely has something in him. He wants to succeed. And right when he went back down to the minors, the thing is, what we did with Mickey Moniak is when he was doing really well in the minors, we'd call him up to the majors, and it doesn't translate that easy. Right. You need to let him continue to get those reps while he's on fire, and that's going to help him more than bring it up to the majors.
You call him up from the minors and put him on your bench.
Exactly.
That's
all you do.
That's not the way baseball works.
No, that's not how it works, and they know that. And I don't know why they messed that up. But there's not a lot of big name guys over in center and left field, and we're losing McCutchen, Odubel, and a lot of other guys. And now the guys on our team are not really starting caliber players. But even just getting a couple decent guys, some nice placeholders, and maybe make some trades in the middle of the season, get some guys that you could trade. So we're not going to get star players out in that outfield, but I don't think it's a necessity. I really want to focus on this pitching more. The shortstop role, I know Didi played really bad, and I was one of the biggest haters last year after he started playing bad. Didi is still a pretty good player, and he could have just had a bad year. It happens, and this is going to be his contract year. And when people are on their contract year, they want to play well so bad because they want to get their money's worth. Yeah, that's usually what they want to do. And he's making
2 years ago in 2020, I said Jake Arrieta's on a contract year. He's going to tear it up for the Phillies. Boy, did I bite the bullet on that one because I thought Jake Arrieta was going to revert back to some great form in 2020 because it was the last year of his deal. And we'll just say I was wrong on that one.
Well, look, Didi, when we had him in 2020, that he was on a contract, we sent him to a 1-year deal. And during that 60-game season, I know it was only 6 games, he played extremely well. He was very valuable to this team. We're like, hey, sign him back.
Yeah, we wanted him.
He exactly. And he might have just had a bad year last year, and it was very frustrating. I'm sure it's frustrating for him. He was injured when he was out on the IL. He was injured when he came back to play. He was still having elbow issues. They were just forcing him into the lineup. So I'm not sure how bad he really would have been if he wasn't injured. Next year, I'm sure he can come back. He's going to want to make his money. He's making $14 million next year. You have to play him. You can't sit $14 million on the bench. I'm hating wasting that money, and I'm not even the one spending the money. So I can't imagine how Middleton would feel just throwing $14 million out the window. That's pretty much what it's like. So I don't know. We're gonna see what Dombrowski does. He's known for rebuilding these teams. So I'm extremely happy to see him have a full off season and see how much he can get away with this year because it's going to be fun. There's going to be news dropping a lot.
It's crazy to think, and I got other questions for other shows about the team, more specifically. But to think about it, this team spends a lot of money, 6th highest payroll last year. We've got so many holes, but we have so many players. Problem is, we got a lot of players. Like we have Stott and Didi, both shortstops. Mm-hmm. We got Bohm and Rhys Hoskins. Probably both first basemen.
Yeah,
we have a bunch of young guys that aren't proven for left and center field. there are a lot of holes on this team because you got a lot of doubled up positions. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, no, and it definitely does. And when you have double up positions, you have to play them in their roles you're not supposed to
Right.
have. I mean, hey, Reese Hoskins is playing left field for 2 or 3 years.
Is there any thought process? He was so bad out there, but
it was terrible. But we were paying Carlos Santana $60 million over 3 years. One of our worst signings.
Yeah.
That was very frustrating. And Alec, there's in talks of Alec Boehm playing left field this year.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard those. I
hate it.
Save the Boehm Hoskins talk for another day.
No, yeah,
I got a lot of talk on those guys because again, you're stuck with multiple guys that can play one position.
Yep.
So it's something to look into. If you had one move for this offseason for the Phillies, one move, what would it be?
Obviously I want to get one of those closers, but I don't know if that's something I want. I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here. You haven't heard this from me yet, and a lot of people are shocked when I say something like this. I want to trade Rhys Hoskins.
Okay. Well, that answers Drew's question. If you were to trade one person.
There you go. And it's not because I think he is a bad player. He's just very inconsistent. And right now, I know he came off an injury, but he came off the end of a season where he was hitting a home run in every game.
Yeah.
So his trade value is pretty high right now. And I've been saying it for years to trade Rhys Hoskins ever since his rookie year where he played 50 games and hit 17 homers. It was insane and everything.
Absolutely.
But Rhys Hoskins, he's very inconsistent. I mean, when you look at his numbers at the end of the season, it looks pretty good. But that doesn't always matter. It doesn't translate. When all of those numbers are coming in a 3-week span and the rest of the season's bad, that's going to be very frustrating. Last year, he had a streak where he went 0 for 32. I mean, 32 at bats and you didn't get a hit.
I could go 0 for 32. You could pay me millions to go 0 for 30. That's not easy or hard for me to do.
Right, exactly. And I know the thing is when he's cold, he's very cold, and when he's hot, he's very hot. And I am not a type of person that likes those streaky players. Bryce Harper used to be a very streaky player in the beginning of his career. He figured it out, and he's kind of just hot all the damn time, and he's on very minor cold streaks. Rhys Hoskins has not figured that out. And that's something that I kept on holding off every season. I'm like, hey, if he doesn't fix this, I want to trade him. If his hot streak is how he normally is most of the time, I would never want to get rid of this guy. And Rhys Hoskins, as a person and everything, he's cool. He loves Philly and everything, but right now his trade value is high, and I don't think that's not going to be a guy that I'm going to want to pay so much money. And he's almost done his arbitration years and everything. So my move, trading Rhys Hoskins, he can be very big in getting maybe like a late starter and a closer, a good closer, because his value is high and he still is a good first baseman.
And some of these guys, I mean, Kimbrel, he's with the White Sox. Rhys Hoskins could be a piece in a trade to an AL team where the DH is around, because they still haven't said whether the DH is going to be in the NL yet. I mean, eventually it will be, whether it be next season or not. I'm not sure if it'll happen by then. But Hoskins can thrive in the AL where he doesn't have to play the defense and just focus on hitting nonstop, which is what he is. He's kind of like a Jim Thome. He's just a hitter. Not a defensive player whatsoever.
Not at all.
Obviously, way lower level than Jim Thome. I'm not. I got Jim Thome's head hanging up back there behind me. You can't see it with my big head in the way. I'm a big Jim Thome guy.
Love Thome.
So we'll get into more Phillies. Obviously, this was just one conversation on the Phillies. We'll try to spend at least 15, 20 minutes at least once a week, talking Phillies as the offseason goes. I want to talk Eagles before we wrap this show up a little bit, because honestly, 2 days this week, we've really hardly touched on the Eagles, on that Chargers game or anything coming up this week. So on my show tonight, I got Darrell Adams. He's a Division II graduate wide receiver from Azusa Pacific University. So we're going to talk wide receiver and offense with him tonight on Trending for Four Quarters. But Friday morning on this show, we got Coach Michael Coleman. He's the head coach of the Wyoming Mustangs of the Champion Indoor Football League. But he's been coaching in college, in indoor leagues, in European football. He's had some gigs in the NFL. He's been coaching since the mid-'90s. This guy's an older guy. And I called him for 5 minutes yesterday just to prep and set up the topics for Friday morning show here in Trending the AM. And I ended up having over a 30-minute conversation with him, because I asked him how much he's kept up on the Eagles. He lives down in Florida. He coaches out in central United States, western United States. And he knew exactly what I was talking about with the Eagles. And he had so much to say. He's the head coach, but he also runs the defense. So I'm like, the first thing, I'm like, yo, what's going on with the Eagles defense? And without me even having to ask questions, he instantly brought up this specific play from Sunday. So this is Sunday. We've got 3 linemen down here. Dirk Barnett's right here. We got 3 linemen. You got 3 linebackers, and you got five defensive backs here. Okay, and you've seen this play, right, Jeremy?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me, I'm not on the StreamYard screen. Can you see what I'm doing here?
Yeah. I
got
see
the mouse moving around. Okay.
Yep, it's all up.
So we're gonna break this down play by play here, or by second here. So this is a basic thing here. Basically, what happens here right before the snap? You see this linebacker. I think it's TJ Edwards. He's about to come up to blitz. Okay. So you watch that, and what happens? You got Derek Barnett dropping back into coverage against their tight end here. But what you also have is all your cornerbacks and safeties backpedal. Look, you can barely see this one cornerback or safety. He is so far off. It's his job to help out Derek Barnett here. And what do you have? You have Derek Barnett given all the space because Derek Barnett should not be covering a tight end. And look at all this space. All you got to do is put a half decent, not even a great pass, a half decent pass on your tight end. And look at all this space.
Yep.
There's nobody there to help him. Nobody. Look, that's 3 yards. That's 8 yards. That's 15 yards till you're helping safety there. And eventually he comes up, makes a tackle. That was a huge, 15-yard first down right there.
Yeah.
You can watch it all in motion. The guy's dropping back because the blitz was happening. They talked about 20%, blitzes, this last game for the Eagles. Problem is 20% blitzing is it's an improvement. But this is a blitz, but you're still only blitzing 4 guys.
Yeah.
It's not like you're putting real pressure. You got 5, 6 blockers, and you got 4 guys blitzing. That's not good enough. That's not the kind of blitz you need, especially when you got all this soft defense going on. And honestly, if we could back this up to about here, let me pause it. Nope, I didn't back it up enough. Where's my thing here? You had another guy drop back off the line of scrimmage. And if focus in on this guy, if he didn't go to the tight end here, look at how wide open this guy is.
Yep.
Across the middle of the field. Right there. Wide open.
Oh, I think another second.
If Herbert would have waited another second, you've got a 50-yard touchdown pass right there.
Yeah, you do.
So, it's a thing. And I was super excited that, Coach Coleman, he's not an Eagles fan, but he follows football enough to know exactly what's going on with this team. And that he spent 10 minutes of the 30-minute conversation talking about that play and how pathetic. He's like, oh, they run a zone 2, zone 3, whatever you want. Hey, I don't even want to call it that. I just want to call it a soft defense. That's what he just said. This guy has no attachments to the Eagles, and he just said, we run a soft defense. So thoughts about all that right there, Jeremy?
So I kind of see what they're trying to do there. I don't agree with it, and I don't think it's smart, but I see what they're trying to do. We've been known for having a very basic defense. That's almost like a trick play on offense. You're taking back your pass rusher, and you have a linebacker coming in, and he has some speed going in. It was actually a pretty nice jump he had. That line, I think it was Edwards. But that's still a terrible move. Derek Barnett has zero experience covering anyone. I'm surprised he didn't get a PI call with all the penalties he gets, by the way. I'm surprised he didn't hit him.
Killer offsides on 3rd and 6. He got it to 3rd and 1. They got the first down. And yeah, I mean, you could feel the deflation, and you see it. I didn't know you were going to mention that. I could have pulled the clip from that one. You see on that offsides, Fletcher Cox and Josh Sweat's reaction on the line of scrimmage. Like Fletcher Cox dropped to a knee and put his head on his helmet. Fletcher Cox just sunked over like this. Like seriously. So it's 6 penalties this year. 4 of which have resulted in first downs, and they've been all at bad times.
No, yeah, and it's very frustrating. But I mean, the rest of that play, I just don't really see why you have Barnett going into coverage. Like, we're not a 3-4 team. Our linebackers can't cover and pass rush. We don't have anyone really like that. I don't even know what else to really say. It's just a terrible
it's really simple. I mean, this whole coaching staff from day one they were hired talked about adjusting the scheme to the players they have. That play completely contradicts that.
Yep.
Because that play says, I have a scheme I want to run. I want to run a 3-3 with my linemen dropping back when I blitz my linebackers. But you don't have linemen. Derek Barnett should not be dropped. If you want to have that guy do that, you better have a lineman that can actually do that. He is not one of them. Yeah, bring back the 4-6. Bring back buddy ball. Yeah, that's good. Hey, I brought up that I was from Philadelphia, and the first thing Coleman said was, "Oh, you must be a buddy ball fan." I'm like, I love it. I love that he brought that up right away. No questions asked. So yeah, I'm really excited about that interview on Friday because Coach Coleman sounds like he's got lots of great content to talk about and how to run the Eagles and what he would do with them. Yeah. But let's be honest, this defense is not good. And if you play, I'm going to show the play again. This is Justin Herbert, a really good young quarterback, okay? Right. But this play right here is exactly what Teddy Bridgewater does and how Teddy Bridgewater makes his living in the NFL. Dink and dunk passes against soft defenses. I'm scared Teddy Bridgewater is going to look like Joe Montana on Sunday.
And I'm sure that's going to be another discussion for maybe like Friday before the show or maybe tomorrow when we can really deep dive into like some sort of like pregame. But yeah, I'm totally with you there. I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to look great. I mean, the space the tight end has, if you think Justin Herbert doesn't realize, you see the safety go back and they're like, okay, there's no one in front of that tight end right now.
Yeah.
And even if Barnett goes back, he's not going to be worried. Herbert saw it. He was staring at the tight end the entire time until he made his route. Right. And he made the play. That plain and simple. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Just the amount of space he had the whole time.
Look at this soft defense. Look at these cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Look how far back they are. I mean,
I feel bad because he's making them look bad, and it's not even their fault.
Absolutely. He is making the cornerbacks look bad. But the thing that pisses me off is we would just preach to nonstop about we're going to be, we're not going to put round pegs into square holes. You know what I mean? We are going to adjust to what we have. You've got cornerbacks that want to press. You don't. You got linemen that want to blitz. You can go back 2 weeks ago when Fletcher Cox was talking about how he was told to cover drop off to cover a screen. That's not what you do. No. That's being stubborn. That's looking at who you have and not utilizing them. Mm-hmm. I mean, even look at Javon Hargrave. He was on fire to start the season. Have we even talked about him in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, no, not really.
Because he's not being used properly.
No.
So
no one is.
It's kind of hard to fire anybody mid-season. It's definitely hard to fire a coach, an assistant coach or a coordinator, when you're going on the road because there's, travel and stuff like that. But if we get torn apart this week against the Broncos, or if the defense, even if it's a close game like this past week and the defense just looks really bad again, I would not be surprised since we have a home game the following week against the Saints. I wouldn't be surprised if Jonathan Gannon's gone, by week 11 or 12 of this season because he's Nick Sirianni, at least you're seeing some progression, but Jonathan Gannon, you're seeing regression in what he's doing on defense big time.
Well, that's the thing. Gannon is also one of Sirianni's buddies. And like I said before, this Eagles team is known for having friends on the team and just sticking with them. And I think Howie Roseman, just like how he uses Nick Sirianni as a puppet, he knows that Sirianni could just be like, hey, this is my guy. Like, I know he doesn't have that kind of power yet. They wouldn't even give it to Doug Peterson.
Right.
But I think I would like Gannon to be fired. I just don't see it happening as much as I want it to happen.
All right. So we'll wrap the Eagles talk up for there. We got lots more Eagles talk tomorrow and on Friday as we break down the game and then bring on Coach Coleman from the Wyoming Mustangs, so the Champions Indoor Football League. Again, like I said, really excited to talk to him. So we want to wrap the show up. We talked about it yesterday. Showed the video. I don't have the video queued up anymore because I don't think we need to show it anymore. Nikolai Jokic getting involved with Morris in that game 2 nights ago, and how he pretty much, shoulder blocked, ran over Morris. Yes, Markieff Morris, did run into him as well. So there's a little instigation. So the NBA came down. They fined Morris and Butler an undisclosed amount of money. Butler because Jimmy Butler, was talking some pretty scary trash talk on the sideline, which is great because he was sticking up for his team. Morris had to be stretchered off the field or off the court. So it wasn't like he could even get up and walk off the court after that. So both of them, Morris got fined for instigating it by running into him, which I didn't think it was that much of a instigation. He did bump him pretty hard, but he bumped him in front of him. Whatever. Nothing that could have hurt Nikolai Jokic. But Nikolai Jokic just got a 1-game suspension. And in my opinion, I think that's a really, really soft suspension because he could have seriously done. So Drew's saying they both should have been suspended. But Drew, don't you agree that Jokic should have gotten more than a 1-game suspension? Morris bumped into him in front of him. Yeah. Jokic took a cheap shot and not like just a little shove. He literally, you saw it when we played the clip yesterday. He literally drilled his shoulder and elbow into his back and knocked him down pretty bad. I thought that was a 3 to 5 game suspension coming. And,
No,
maybe a 5-game suspension, he appeals, it gets knocked down to 3. 1-game suspension, that's just a game of, like, he was going to take a rest game soon anyway.
Right. Yeah.
This is day of rest, body maintenance day for him now.
It kind of just shows how these officials are. And, him getting 1 game. And say what you want about Markieff Morris, if he should have deserved it too. But saying just about Nikola Jokic, he just – it's just like you said, it's just like a rest day, and he probably should get more. I'm with the side where he should get more. I mean, he took a cheap shot, hit him. They were up 20, however much they were up. I don't understand fully.
Saying that if you fought me, you better expect one back. That's the boxer in you.
Right.
But also the boxer in you, you're not taking a cheap shot behind somebody's back.
Right.
That's a Sidney Crosby type move. Sidney Crosby's known for the cheap shots when hockey players aren't looking. That's what Jokic did. That's Jokic saying, I can't, I'm not going to straight up go at you. I'm going to wait till you turn your back on me. That's it. And that's why the bump or the shoulder block or whatever, did so much damage to Morris, because he didn't see it coming. And when you take a cheap shot, especially a forceful cheap shot on a player behind their back like that, they're not ready to brace. They can't brace for the impact.
No,
so
not at all.
You get, that's just the way it is when you're getting hit. If you don't see it coming, it does more damage than when you see it coming. So, I think he deserved a 3 to 5 game suspension. I think it's pretty soft on the league. And that just sets a tone for the league.
Exactly.
I can get away with stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, I'm going to say it, and I've said it before. If that was Joel Embiid's getting a 5-game suspension for that.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
There's no way they're letting Joel Embiid get away with that.
I'm surprised Joel didn't get more for air punching Lonzo.
Air punching Lonzo. I'm surprised he didn't get a 5-game suspension.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
On a side note, have you ever? I don't know if you caught this. So, did you catch the technical that got pulled back last night?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's another thing. The reffing last night was bad. Sam Cassell was fired up after a play. I think it was in the third quarter, and he was just shouting from the sideline. And you could see Doc Rivers go to grab him to pull him back, and they teed him up instantly. And he looked like what he was doing was deserved. And then they go and show the replay. He was actually yelling at one of his players. I don't even know which Sixer he was yelling at. And he's like, "Yo, I was yelling at my player, not you, ref." And they're like, "Oh, okay, gosh. Take the technical away." I've never seen a technical rescind it like that. It just goes to show the NBA refs and the NBA officials, Drew saying it, are soft. They're just letting things get away with way too much. And you should have seen Budenholzer, or however you say the Bucks head coach. What, you rescinded a technical? And like he was even more fired up over that. I mean, it's just things that don't happen at all.
That's hilarious. I'm going to look at that clip.
Referee and umpire and discipline issue, in my opinion, and something we're going to continue to talk about, because these kind of topics are going to come up week in and week out.
Mm-hmm. And you're always going to see it on Trending in the AM every morning.
Monday through Friday. That's a great segue to wrap the show up. I was waiting to close the show with this comment, but he just chimed in. He had to chirp a little bit about those Blue Devils. I was going to say, yes, I was going to close the show saying, Scotty, Duke did beat Kentucky. I think it was 79-71, but our Villanova Wildcats won by 40. Yes. So I'm just going to say that. I know we played Mount St. Mary. They played Kentucky. Big difference in, quality of opponent there. But
a win's a win.
A win's a win. Our plus minus is much better than those Duke Blue Devils right now. Scotty's a huge Duke fan. And let me just say, I didn't even know till we were prepping for last night's game that Grayson Allen played for the Milwaukee Bucks now. And Grayson Allen, out of all Duke players that's in the NBA, he's got the most punchable face. And they interviewed him after the game because he had like 23, 25 points against the Sixers and shooting lights out. Dude, Grayson Allen, he's a man.
He's a tool.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that basically sums him up right there. If Jokic is going to elbow someone in the back, he won't get suspended if he does it against Grayson Allen. I don't think anybody likes Grayson Allen. That boy's a bum. I can't say. Yeah. But he's transformed his game. He's a shooter. He's figured out his game in the NBA. Whatever. I just don't like him. I want to punch him. Sorry, I'm gonna say it. Oh man, yeah. I saw a bunch of comments about Pincheiro. Being a top pick in the draft after last night's game. We'll say, hey, Coach K, last season in college, he's retiring after this year. He's got a great team. He is going to have a chance of getting one final run at a title this year. So I'll be rooting. I bust on Duke. I don't like Duke because of the Leitners, the Allens, just some hateable players, but Coach K is probably one of my 2 or 3 favorite college coaches in all sports of all time. I respect the hell out of the guy. He's won gold medals for us in basketball. So I do love Coach K, and I do wish him, a lot of success this year in his last year. On this flip side, they beat Kentucky. I hate Coach K, Coach C, Calipari. He doesn't have that same, love from fans across the country like Coach K has. So we'll be rooting for him. We'll just see what happens. I'm going to be rooting for Villanova a lot more.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
All right, that's it for today. Trending in the AM. Again, brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped.com. Promo code TRENDING at checkout. The name of the show, Trending, for 20% off and free shipping. Make sure you're supporting the podcast by using our sponsors and using our codes. That's the way we can continue to put on 16 shows a week and continue to grow this brand. Plus, again, Manscaped, whoever you buy it for, even if you buy it for yourself, you will not be disappointed in their products. Great products for all different male grooming needs. I love them. And their boxers and their shirts, even all their gear like that is fantastic, high quality stuff. So make sure you check them out. We'll be back tomorrow morning, Thursday morning. And again, don't forget Friday morning, 8:30 a.m., Coach Mike Campbell and Wyoming Mustangs. I will be back tonight at 9 p.m. with Trending in for 4 quarters. Got a wide receiver from European football coming on the show, and a bunch of other Eagles talk obviously going on. So stay tapped into DSM Media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Subscribe, follow, retweet, share. You know the deal. Thumbs up. Turn those notifications on. You don't want to miss it. Follow Jeremy at jhorworth11. Myself at Beard of Knowledge on Twitter. We'll interact with you on a daily basis. Thank you for tuning in. Continue helping us take off this morning show that's going to take over morning talk. It is. It is what it is.
It already started.
Hey, Jeremy, thank you very much. Get back to bed. I'm going to work. We'll see you all tomorrow, guys.